I'd like to introduce to you Terry McKinney. He's one of our teaching artists that has worked in our after-school programs this past year.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce my wife to come over and join me. She's always assisted me. And I'd like to talk about our after-school magic program at Yance Middle School. And most of the kids that we deal with are mostly have learning deficit problems. And the music seems to bring out the best in them. And we go to the classroom, and basically our program consists of the Arts Council fortunately got some grant money, and they bought, I think it was about 14 guitars we had, and Carolyn Riley brought them over and let them kids check them out, like checking out a library book. And so our objective is to start off, and I would take, and first of all I would take the guitar and show them the different parts of the guitar, the body, the bat, the bridge, the strings. And most of all, I would tell them it's a 6-string instrument. We talked about its Spanish origin, and then we talked about how each string was tuned and what key they was tuned in. Now then, our objective is to, our music scale fortunately has the magic number, or I'll call it the perfect number 7. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and our major chords, and then you just have the flats or the sharps, which are basically the same, but it's a half step between the majors. So our objective is during the week is to orientate the kids to the guitar, and also the first evening that we do work with them, and then from there we continue to give them an overview then of how we learned and how I learned by playing by ear. And that is one of the basic things in the mountains that we want to keep the tradition of, is learning per se in the music class, but being able to use the brain sort of as a tape recorder. And the kids learn and they listen at home. We give them songs to listen to, and they program these songs, and then the fact then is try to play and to sing these songs. Now we work like a 2 or 3 week block with these kids, and to me they do an amazing job, because their attention, sometimes we learn to deal with that because their attention span, some of them has attention deficit, so they will be really, really bright and listen, you know, like for say 20 minutes, and then maybe 1 or 2 of them will get a little bit off track, and so we just kind of let them come back and forth to us. But Ruth is very good. That's where she comes in, and also instead of me taking charts to school with those 7 major chords on them, we actually take a pack of notebook paper, and then Ruth will pass out a piece of paper to each child, and then we'll actually have them to draw like the neck of the guitar, and then we have them to draw 6 lines. Then say we start off with our first chord, like the key of A, and then so what we have them to do then is put which finger goes on which string. And so we'd take and go over like the first chord of A and really kind of get that in their memory. We get them to draw it, actually draw where their fingers go. And I think that's more effective than for me to go to the music store, which would be much easier, and buy, you know, charts that shows the chords and where the fingers go. But if they actually sit down and draw it, and it keeps them involved in the program too, instead of just me talking. So they're drawing these, and any of them is having a problem, then I've already taught Ruth the 7, so she will go work with ones maybe that's having a problem, and I'll tell them to raise their hand if they're having a problem. And then after a couple days, then Carolyn brings the guitars in, and then we actually let them check out the guitar, and then we start practicing those chords. And they start going through them, and then we take them one at a time. And then after several days, and usually in mountain music, that's the good thing is that out of those 7, you can pick like 3, some of them has an extra 4th chord, but a lot of, especially are Scott-Irish ballads, which are pretty dominant in this region. And you can take those songs, and like with the 3 of them, you can do most any song, like You're My Sunshine or Old MacDonald, any of these songs, you know, even nursery rhyme songs, or getting into more complicated. I know Jody Higgins' son, he had me, he'd brought a scum book, and it was one of the Beatles songs, in which I was orientated in mountain and country, and the Beatles were a little bit out of my category, but I was familiar with the Beatles, so fortunately he and I had a little more time because Jody was just a little later picking him up, and most of the other kids had already gone, so we would go over some of those, and then of course he was had a book with chords in it, but that was really kind of fun. But anyway, the mountain style of learning is really what that we was focusing on, and I was totally amazed when I first started the program. I think, you know, this is really going to be tough because I've played since I was a child, but I've never really tried as far as being in the teaching role. And also as far as history, I do a lot of history programs on the mountain music and how it became commercial. But this was exciting for Ruth and I both because we were actually with the students, you know, and working with them on how to learn. And so after several days, it's unbelievable. These kids playing 3 chords, and then we're singing You're My Sunshine, or Amazing Grace is one of the popular ones the kid likes to do because a lot of them in attending church and stuff, they were familiar with those, and they already had those songs programmed in their brain. So once you've got something there to work and it's already programmed, then it's easier to go with. So a lot of them, and especially another one was I'll Fly Away was popular. And we would get in there and they would group up, and we would just start singing those songs, and we'd have each kid play along, you know. And so if it was a little difficulty, now some, and you will have that, I found out in class, some will be more advanced really than others. But one of the main things that really made me very, very happy was when we got toward the end of our after-school program, that some of the teachers came to Ruth and I and expressed that these kids that were difficult was doing much better in their academics in the other classes. And that really was, to me, the rewarding thing, knowing that it seemed like the music had opened up their attention span with a more desire not only to learn the music, but to learn the other classes that they were taking. So this was very, very great. So basically that's sort of an overview of sort of with the after-school program that we do, and we love doing it, we love working with the kids. One of the most popular, I think, with the kids is a lot of times if they have cookouts, campground, here in the mountains, one of the most, and of course across the country, I think this song is probably sung more around cookouts, family gatherings, campfires. Governor Jimmy Davis has sung a little bit of You're My Sunshine. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when the skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. No, please don't take my sunshine away.